Have you ever had something that is ratioed, meaning less of what it should be? This is where you can get a pictorial of something that is one bad apple ruins it for the whole bunch. I didn't know what I was trying to figure out when I was talking about ratios, and the significance I was explaining was one that's digital, where a picture of a face is inside of a frame. I think it's funny how much that like imagery has become part of what digitization is, because if you have a picture of someone and you put it on a poster board, now all of a sudden they've made a post. And a lot of people like a picture of themselves out there, but it's when you put a video of someone, it gets 10 times more controversial. And here's where the scapegoat is. Someone can say it's a video, but it's really a slideshow. They have 98% of pictures one after another, and then they slip in one motion picture, a video, for like a 15-second clip at the very end, and they call it a video. The same thing for landscaping. If you have a landscape mode on your phone and then you put it in with like a whole bunch of different imageries that aren't landscape mode, this is landscape mode where it's like of course that was the loudest diesel I've ever heard all year. Equivalently, if you put a picture in landscape mode, this is where it doesn't cut the corners off of the camera, so that you don't have to hold your camera sideways, you hold it upright. You have one of those as a wild card inside of a slide of like, how many? Doesn't matter, 2 to 10 to 1,000 video clips. It'll change every video clip to non-landscape, meaning the entire video will then be cut the corners off each side, so it looks like your phone was upright and not horizontal. This configuration is the same in ratios where one bad apple ruins the whole bunch. But when it's not digitization and it becomes more of a thing of physicality, it would be like one drink mix powder if it is old and expired, and then you take all these like vitamin pills and they're not expired. That one drink powder that was expired would ruin all those vitamin pills. Racially, it would degrade them. It would demerit them. And I can't really speak on the cubicles because I haven't been in one, but it's just the same can be said with what a lane is. If there's a lane and it gets squeezed, it's always these people in cars, and I'm not talking about the roads as lane, but when they do like a rolling stop, and then it's like this whole thing where they're squeezing the lane when they don't need to be. But no, it's this different lane. I was doing track and field, and so there was this bar above this track, and these rings that you pull down, and they got straps because these bar can have them on them. And so I may design this circuit where you pull the straps and the rings over the track, because you can make this interesting attribute of a dynamic. Anyways, in designing a circuit, I know the face is black, the lighting, my producers are killing me. But I left one lane open and I was hogging all of them because I was only going to do like a few reps of this new circuit, repetitions at iteration, one and the same. But in any case scenario would be that with only one lane open, how the circuit collapsed was there was this one lady, and she snaked a measuring tape through the one lane that was open that didn't have these straps and rings pulled over the 4 lanes, with one block in front of them, and with the cones put up, mind you. Put up your cones. But no, this was good. I was just going to get like some quick iterations reps with this new circuit that I designed. And then, of course, it was, she starts putting out her elbows. And this is why you'll never see me with my elbows on my hips. In basketball, they all do this to make their body look big. It's like, I don't like making my body look big or covering up my face. I don't need to. I'm already like better than that. But no, she just starts throwing out those elbows, and that's when you know it's time to wrap it up. And so the circuit collapsed because I didn't want to interfere with her measurements. She was putting tape on the ground. Come on, what are we doing? And then I just always vlog. I don't look at my like face when I vlog. People have a screen that they reference. I don't know when I was zoomed in. I didn't zoom it in. Usually I zoom it in to get a shot if I'm lining up to do a calisthenic, aka a 180. I got 180s for days. But no, this was zoomed in. I saw it the last minute because I was going to troll this guy, but he had his earbuds in, and so do I, so I don't feel like trolling. And so then you can see my accuracy with my filming. If my face is in frame and it's zoomed in, you get like a schematic of how accurate it is if I can have the zoomed in frame with a tight shot and my face is in the middle. The points where it isn't in the middle, this is like a target board where you see a bullseye deviates with smaller points. Yeah, it's with these ratios that you really get a depiction of ratios. And so I impress upon these things I'm explaining designing a trope and a character development. And it's just because, like, for having a little slice of heaven, it isn't like you need something that's the state of the art. And this is where Americans get lost in commercialism, thinking that you need to be a certain way. And this is how the American dream has gone up Schitt's Creek. And now everyone's looking for a paddle, but they don't even know the lane is Shit Creek and not the American dream. So this is like, even in like the smallest buildings or yards, I'm a sucker for environments, so I get sucked into them easily. Some of the most beautiful escapisms in environment is the ones that are so small, and because it is not claustrophobic, but you find the beauty in things that that doesn't mean that like larger and more elaborate things are eloquent. They are, but it's just to say that even in small places, you know, the same can be said. It's like with a bike, as that would be an environment, but an inanimate object, a bicycle, just because a bike has like a broken chain and a bent spoke doesn't mean that the best ride of your life on the bike can't be during that time with those two things that have been worn. When things are worn to you, it's like customized in a way that nothing else can be. So it's awesome to have what's new, but it's not to take away from the characteristics of things that are lesser, because sometimes it's more. And so that can be like the prefix to the following. We'll start right where we left off with all my regular viewers. I have a schematic where I get a reading on my channel, as if I have a sneak peek at what an algorithm is. No, but when you go live, you need like a few hundred, aka 1,000 viewers, and then you have the unlock tab, because you can't go live unless you have that many viewers to go live. And then you can see a better reading, a sneak peek at the algorithm to when it is kicking you off of a live stream, because your content is thereby inappropriate to the rules. But no, for the first 4 minutes of where we left off at would be, of course, the difference of a snowflake and a snowball. The chance of one surviving in hell. There's not a snowflake's chance in hell. There's not a snowball's chance in hell. One or the other, it doesn't really matter because it's so over the top. But for all namesake, you would, if asked that question, which would survive longer, it would be the snowball, because there's more of them, right? I don't know, in reverse engineering, I think that like hell is so over the top that it would be like so hot because it's negative temperature, and this is where we left off at. There's designing a trope, and then there's of course characteristics when characters have character development. And so I fancy this as where you can be so nitpicky about stuff, but if they're purposeless, then you're an a-hole. And so if you have like these giant mansions and they have these elaborate entrances, and it's all that it is, first impressions is the name of the game to low IQ people. So it's the first impression with these elaborate entrances. You'll see there's foyers that are the size of family rooms, and this is just to have that first impression of going through the door, having that entrance right. And it's no surprise that when places are smaller, you have like a divide of one room, its meaning for that room into another room, and the causality of these two things interfere. If the person is not low IQ but low experience, because they won't be ready for a quick change. That's how I view Cain and Abel in the Curse of Cain and Abel when they led one into a different land. But there's this other thing where a character development is like having like the not saying what you're doing but actually meaning it, because it's like not verbatim. So this guy, he's got like these socks, and he's like, I just don't think I can use these socks right. And he's like, why? The person says, why? And then he's like, well, they're just not the best ones that I can have. And like his whole arc is like these socks that are so bad and he can't get better ones. It's just for an overlying character development that this guy's dirt poor and he can't afford anything better. But to really take that personal, everyone would grasp upon the notion almost immediately, especially if he's good at acting at that. And so there's that. And I think that was